Welcome and welcome back. My name is Arthur Jago. I am an assistant professor of management here at the Milgard School of Business at the University of Washington, Tacoma. More specifically, I'm an organizational psychologist who studies the intersection between technology and human behavior. Today, I'm really excited to spend just a few minutes talking to you all about a domain within analytics that is very near and dear to my heart, people analytics. So what is people analytics? People analytics is broadly using data to study people processes in organizations. And when we talk about people processes, there are a lot of different decisions when it comes to human resources that organizations might be interested in using analytics to help inform. For example, if your organization is hiring, it might be interested in who among a large pool of applicants is going to be a good leader or a star performer that rises up through the ranks. Similarly, an organization might be interested in how can we develop leaders among our existing employees. Other organizations might be interested in how do people work or network with each other. If we have different departments that we want communicating or brainstorming with each other, are they actually doing this? And if not, how can we help promote this? Other organizations might be interested in how can we increase employee engagement to boost worker productivity and happiness. People analytics can be used to answer larger scale questions in organizational behavior too. For example, how can we improve the culture at our workplace or the unwritten rules and norms in terms of how we interact with each other? And then finally, especially in the past few years, a number of organizations have undertaken massive people analytics efforts to try and improve diversity and inclusion in their workplace. So why does any of this matter? Why is people analytics important? Well, historically, a lot of these human resource decisions were made by humans. For example, managers or top management teams making decisions about who to hire, who to promote, or how to change the culture at a workplace. With the increasing sophistication of analytics processes and computerized and algorithmic processes, a number of organizations are starting to use technology to inform and sometimes even autonomously make these kinds of people decisions. So while we're not quite at this future where your boss wears metal pants, not yet at least, we are in a future where a lot of organizations that you've heard of, for example, Google, Amazon, Apple, and my employer, the University of Washington, are increasingly using analytics to try and make decisions about people. I want to very quickly spend a little bit of time sharing with you some research findings in people analytics that come from both academia and practice that I find personally fascinating. So one of my favorite studies, done by Hoffman, Kahn, and Lee a few years ago, focused specifically on call centers. And the call centers that they were working with had a big turnover problem. They kept hiring employees who would then go on and leave the organization a few weeks later. So these researchers were interested in, well, can we use analytics to try and predict and minimize employee turnover? And after developing a relatively simple algorithm, they were actually able to use analytics and create a system that outperformed even expert human hiring managers when it came to predicting whether or not a potential hire would leave the company soon versus not. One of the most famous people analytics initiatives that you may have heard of is Project Oxygen, done by Google. This was a massive multi-year initiative where Google, from the ground up, used people analytics to try and understand human behavior in their organization as well as what made managers good. And over the course of this process, they found, using people analytics, that good managers tend to have a number of different qualities. For example, they tend to be good coaches, they tend to be productive and results oriented, they tend to be good communicators. And all of this makes sense, but they were able to, using data, demonstrate this and then look for these kinds of characteristics in new managers and encourage existing managers to engage in these types of behaviors. You can even see people analytics in some domains that you might not necessarily expect it. So for example, Uber and Lyft and other gig economy type platforms use people analytics heavily in terms of their operations. Uber and Lyft use people analytics to not only dispatch workers, but essentially handle the human resources and ratings of different employees after you interact with them. So this is a process where their entire platform is essentially driven in one way or another by different forms of people analytics. Finally, we can see out of universities a number of different and fascinating analytics initiatives. For example, the Bias Busters program from UC Berkeley aimed at addressing and teaching people about unconscious biases. So if this sounds interesting to you, you might be asking yourself, how do I become a people analyst? What kind of skills do I need to know to get into this? So people analytics is really a mix of predictive analytics and inferential analytics. Some organizations might be interested in making predictions about people. For example, if we hire this person, are they going to do a good job? Other organizations, though, might be interested in using analytics to understand characteristics about their teams or employees. For example, if you have an amazing star-performing team, what about them is leading to this high performance? When you break it down, people analytics is really a truly interdisciplinary field of study. It's a mix of both hard analytic skills as well as softer social science skills. More specifically, if you're interested in people analytics, I would encourage you to pursue skills in statistics and analytics, obviously, as well as social science skills like research design, survey approach, and experimental design, ranging across a lot of different disciplines like management, psychology, sociology, anthropology, etc. When we talk about career pathways in people analytics, there's really a lot of different options, but many of them, in one way or another, will end up in human resources, helping organizations make decisions about people. You can also use people analytics in consulting or nonprofit work. Really, the sky's the limit. People analytics is a relatively new field of study and domain where you can do work. And so if you decide to pursue this as a career, it's kind of up to you how you want to apply these kinds of skills. So, in conclusion, if you're interested in analytics and you're interested in people and organizational behavior and psychology, people analytics is an interdisciplinary and fascinating marriage of these different fields of study.